everyone, and welcome to YarnGasm. I'm Kristen, and this is episode 221. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back, and if you are a new viewer, thank you so much for checking out this podcast. This is a podcast about knitting, spinning, hand-dyeing yarn, sewing, and pretty much making all the things in Brooklyn, New York, where I'm from and I live. And as always, I'm so happy that you're taking some time out of your day to chat about all those things with me. And I apologize, I have some serious vocal fry right now, a new term that I learned over the course of this weekend at Vogue Knitting Live, which I will talk about in a moment. But there was just so much talking that my voice is now beginning to crack. I will be taking a tea break frequently throughout this podcast, but anyway, yes, if you have not already, please join our YarnGasm Ravelry group, where it's the place to be if you want to partake in all of our knit-alongs, to enter to win prizes, giveaways, and just general chatter, sharing your projects. It's a lot of fun. And I also want to just give a quick shout out to those of you who have introduced yourselves in the YarnGasm Ravelry group. It's always super fun and wonderful to hear where my viewers come from, how you got into knitting, how you found the podcast, and the like. So just please know that I apologize for not responding to each of your posts individually, but just know that I do read them and thoroughly enjoy them, and I always click the little love button on there to let you know that I have read it. So thank you once again for just sharing your stories. And yes, and if you haven't already, I would love to hear where you come from if you haven't posted in that thread yet. So yes, if you would like to follow me on social media, I can be found on Instagram, where I'm most active. I am at Voolenvine on there, and you can also find me on Ravelry as Voolenvine as well. And if you would like to get in touch, you may do so via email. Just email me at voolenvineyarns@gmail.com. Unfortunately, I do not check my Ravelry mail as frequently as I would like to. So yes, email is the best way to get in touch. And show notes for each and every episode can be found over at yarngasmpodcast.com. Wow, okay, that was a lot to get out. But yeah, so again, Vogue Knitting Live happened this past weekend. So I just quickly want to talk about that a little bit before I get into what I've been making this past week. So yeah, Vogue Knitting Live, oh my gosh, it was so much fun, you guys. And if you tuned in last week, I mentioned that Lara from Jinx Yarns, she's the dyer behind Jinx Yarns and the host of the Dyer's Notebook podcast. She came in town and stayed with me, and we had just the best time. I'll talk a little bit more about that in Blather, but we attended Vogue Knitting Live together and met up with a whole handful of other podcasters that we've all become, it's amazing. We've just all become friends, and the words cannot describe how just so wonderful it was to just hang out together, knit, chat, and, you know, never mind the marketplace. It was just, that was the sole reason that I was excited to go to Vogue Knitting Live. The experience of shopping in the marketplace, it's not very pleasant because it is super crowded. If you've been to Rhinebeck or any one of these major yarn festivals or wool fiber festivals, you know how crazy they can get. And this one is very condensed. There are 2 floors, and there's just people all over. It's very loud, very warm in there, and there's no real place to really escape. The only thing that just made it so worthwhile was just getting to hang out with friends and chatting and meeting viewers of the podcast. So I just want to say thank you so much to those of you who came up and said hello. It was so wonderful to meet you in person, both new and familiar faces. So it just makes, it really just gives me the warm and fuzzies every time I, you know, meet you guys in person. And yeah, it's, you know, I do have a haul, which I will share with you in the middle of the episode, but I'm trying to think what else I want to say. I mean, it was just such a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And yes, I have vocal fry, and my introversion, by the end of the weekend, my introversion levels were off the charts, if you can imagine, because yes, I am an introvert, as my tea mug says. So I definitely needed Monday to kind of recharge, and, you know, I was pretty much a recluse the whole day. I didn't leave the house. I think that pretty much covers the whole umbrella of, you know, just the surface of, you know, the weekend. I will again talk more about that in Blather if you're so inclined to stay tuned to the end of the episode. I do want to mention that I did say that I was going to vlog Vogue Knitting Live, and I have to give myself a capital F. Well, I did bring my camera, I did take video, there was just so much going on. The footage that I got was just not the best. I will be honest, I'm very disappointed in myself because when I sat down, looked at the footage, everything was just so shaky and I really didn't pay attention to any detail, and it just wasn't enough to make, it wasn't enough content to justify a vlog, if that makes any sense. So I will just put together what footage I do have and put it at the end of the episode to give you an idea. But if you are interested in, what went on for Vogue Knitting Live, I highly recommend checking out Jacqueline from Brooklyn Knit Folk, and Katie from Inside Number 23, and Mina from the Knitting Expat podcast, and Laura from the Dyer's Notebook podcast. They did a wonderful, superb job of capturing the essence of Vogue Knitting Live and just our getting together and hanging out. So definitely check out their YouTube channels to just, if you're very curious to see our adventures at VKL. So, okay, without further ado, I am gonna mosey along, I guess? Yeah, okay. I'm gonna jump ahead to knit-alongs. So again, if you're not interested in what knit-alongs are going on, I will put a timestamp in the down bar for you to just jump ahead to what I've been making. But just to quickly mention some knit-alongs that have been happening, we have the Box O Socks Cal, which kicked off January 1st and is going all the way until January 1st, 2018. So yes, it's a year-long knit-along. And I did want to mention, I was watching Danny from the Little Bobbins podcast, and she said that she was thinking about joining in on the Box O Socks Cal. Yay! But she also mentioned that because the Box O Socks Cal is a quote-unquote selfish knit-along, meaning that, you're just knitting the socks for yourself, she brought up something that I never really actually thought about. She had said that she doesn't really like the term selfish knit-along because when you knit something for yourself, it really isn't selfish. I mean, it's more like a I thought about it a little bit and I was like, what, it just probably makes more sense to call it a self-knit, like if you're not a selfish knitter, you're a self-knitter, meaning you enjoy knitting for yourself because you know that you are going to truly love and appreciate your handmade goods. So I did go into the thread and changed the guidelines ever so slightly from selfish, this is a selfish knit, to this is a self-knit. So just to put a little more positive twist on it so it doesn't sound so I'm a selfish knitter and I only knit for myself, because we all know that's not always the case. So thank you, Danny, for bringing that up and yeah, making me think about it a little bit. Anyway, just food for thought, side note. And yes, so if you have not joined the Box O Socks Cal, please do. The thread is growing like crazy. And again, if you have any questions about the knit along, please do be sure to ear burn me if you post a question in that thread. Otherwise, it's just gonna get lost because that thread, I feel like there are at least 50 new posts, I kid you not, every day. People sharing their sock creations, and it's just such an inspirational thread. So that's one knit along. And the second knit along that is happening is the Honey Pullover Cal that I am co-hosting with Nina from the This Old Knit podcast. And that kicked off December 1st and is, we set the deadline to March 1st, but we're thinking about extending the deadline just because it's a sweater and the holidays happened and the new year happened and there's just a lot going on. So we want to make sure that we are giving people enough time to complete their projects. And you can also knit there's an adult version and then there's a child's version. And again, this is the Honey Pullover by Amy Miller. And I'll try and post a photo in here. So yes, that's the other knit along that's happening. And last but not least, we have the Voolenvine Yarns Shawl Along. So definitely for this knit along, you please make sure that you check out the Voolenvine Yarns Ravelry group, because I do keep the podcast and my hand-dyed yarn group separate, just so there's no confusion. But yes, if you'd like to partake in that, just be sure you're in the Voolenvine Yarns Ravelry group as opposed to the YarnGasm Ravelry group, just to clarify. So that one that kicked off December 1st and is going until March 1st. And if you're curious about any details, please just check the Ravelry groups please just check the threads for all the details, because I could go on, and I don't want to I don't want to drag this episode out longer than it really needs to be. So definitely check out those threads. And yeah, so it should be a lot of fun. So, but yes, if you would like to enter to win prizes or giveaways, definitely pop on over into those threads and participate. So yes, okay. I'm gonna move along to what's off my needles, because I do have some finished objects to share with you guys, because I have been quite busy these past few days finishing objects, mainly socks, but these were my Christmas Eve cast on socks and they are done. So unfortunately these will not count towards my box of socks for 2017, but they are done. They are my Christmas Eve cast on socks, and the yarn is Cat Sandwich Fibers in her Let's Play Video Games colorway, which I love so much. And it just reminded me, I figured it was just like the most appropriate Christmas Eve cast on colorway, because it just reminds me of snow and Christmas lights, and it just screamed Christmas Eve cast on. So these were so much fun to knit. I am so happy with them. MJ, again, you are such a very talented and wonderful yarn dyer, and if you have not checked out her Etsy shop, please do, because she's a wonderful hand dyer, and it was so wonderful meeting you in person at Do You Knit at my last Trunk show, where she gifted me this yarn. So thank you so much, MJ. But yeah, these are gonna be, I cannot wait to wear these. They are gonna be a lot of fun. So again, these are my Bryson sock blockers. And again, like, I always get emails about this or questions about sock blockers. They're not necessary. Unless you're like super like anal about having very neat and pristine crisp socks, or you would like to gift a pair of socks and you just want them to look very nice and presentable, you really don't need sock blockers. I just use them because I like to show them off nicely in a very presentable manner on the podcast. It just evens things out. So but yeah, these are my Bryson sock blockers. I got these from I think it was either jimmybeanswool.com or theloopyu.com. So definitely check those out. I know the wooden ones that I have are from theloopyu.com. So, they're not terribly expensive. I think a set of these, because I guess they're just plain metal, I believe they were just like $15 or $12. I'm not quite sure US. But I know the wooden ones that I have, which I'll show you in a bit, you can only buy them separately. So one, I believe, retails for $12 US. Don't quote me on that, but that was ballpark how much I spent on those. So yeah, this is one finished object. Second finished object that I have is the Pussy Hat Project hat. So yeah, I cast this on, believe it or not, the day before yesterday, and again, it's worsted weight. It's such a quick knit, and this is a pattern by, let me see who it was by, Cat Coil. So it's a free pattern on Ravelry. It's very popular. If you're not familiar with the Pussy Hat Project it's the women are doing a march on Inauguration Day. I believe there's a march going on in New York City and in DC on Inauguration Day. Just Google Pussy Hat Project and all the information will come up for you. Unfortunately, I will not be marching. I am one of those armchair activists, so I will be there in spirit, but wearing my pussy hat. And yes, so again, I wanted to join in on the project, and yeah, I cast on using my hand-dyed yarns on my new base, which is an Aran Weight 2-ply 100% superwash BFL. And surprisingly, BFL is not known for being very soft. Generally it's very toothy, if you will, but for some reason this one is just super soft. It's very sheepy and squishy, and I cannot be more in love with this base. So yeah, I will have some in the shop on Friday, in tomorrow's update. So if you're curious and you're looking for Aran Weight, highly recommend it. But yeah, this is on my Cocoon base, which is the colorway is Pandora, and I really love the way that this knit up. And let me put it on for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. So yeah, it's a kitty hat. So yeah, now you get why it's called a pussy hat, because it has two little ears that stick out like that. Anyway, while I did use that pattern initially, I did hack the pattern ever so slightly. The original pattern, it's free, so I can talk about it. So the original pattern initially says to cast on 100 stitches, knit the piece flat, fold it over, and then graft the sides. And for some reason that really didn't make sense to me. I guess it's an easy way. If you're a new knitter, it's a very simple way to knit this pattern, but immediately I just thought, well, why don't I just knit it in the round and then do a 3 needle bind off at the top. So what I did was I used a US size 8 needle, which the pattern called for, cast on 100 stitches, joined in the round, and just knit for about 8 inches, although I think it would have been long enough had I just knit 7 to 7.5 inches. And then I just did a 3 needle bind off at the top. And yeah, it just worked out perfectly. If I were to do this pattern again, I would probably go down a needle size for the brim, I should also mention that for the brim I did a 1x1 twisted rib. But yeah, I would have just gone down a needle size to like a US 7, and then switched, once I finished knitting the rib for like about 2 inches, switched over to the US size 8. So yeah, if you want to knit your own pussy hat, feel free to do so. I did make a project page for it, so if you want to follow the way that I knit this pattern, feel free to do so. It's all right there. But yeah, I have a pussy hat and I'm very happy with it. And yeah, I mean, I know a lot of the pussy hats that have been are being knit and were knit are mainly hot pink, but I am not a hot pink person. I don't know if you've gathered that if you've been following this this podcast. I mean, I am, but I don't normally wear hot pink in general. Maybe for socks, but never like on my hat or accessory wise or anything. So I chose this colorway because it has little like subtle flecks of pink in it, and I thought, yeah, why not? Let's do it. So yay, finished object number 2, and I have a hoe. So you know, I can keep rhyming. It's genuinely become like tradition where when Laura stays with me, this is, I believe, the 3rd time she stayed with me. Yeah, I think it is. She stayed with me for Rhinebeck 1 year, and then she stayed another time for Maria's baby shower, and then she stayed with me for Vogue Knitting Live this year. So, but it just seems like it's tradition. Like whenever she comes, I'm either working on some yarn that she's dyed, or I have to cast something on with yarn that she's dyed. And this time I had just finished my cat sandwich fiber socks, so I recruited Laura to help me pick out some new sock yarn to knit with. While I do have my Mercury socks that I'm still working on, my second pair, I knew that I just needed a pair of vanilla socks to work on for the weekend because it would just be a whole bunch of social interactions happening. And normally for that, I just need plain simple vanilla sock to work on. So she, of course, picked out, this is a colorway she dyed specifically because both Laura, me, and Maria from the podcast formerly known as Subway Knits, she now has the Cables and Crew Necks podcast. We've been friends for quite some time, and we've just stayed in touch over the years, and you know, we text each other all the time, and you know, we've really become great friends over the years. And she just dyed this colorway for us, specifically with, you know, our personalities in mind. And this colorway is actually called Preppy Gothic Mermaid. And preppy for Maria because she's the definitive prepster. She loves J. Crew and Navy and everything, and she's Greek, so the white and the blue are for Maria. And of course the green and the silver, or the gray, are for Lara, who is the mermaid. And then of course we have some mauvey purples and black for the Gothic, which, yeah, kind of defines me basically. So, but I just love the way these colors go together. They're friends. So I cast these on the night that Lara arrived and literally bound them off about an hour after she left, after we said goodbye. So yeah, you can imagine, I worked on these all through Vogue Knitting Live, all the time that she was here, and there are just so many, I posted about this on Instagram, there are just so many happy memories knit into this sock. Whenever I look at it, it's just, I remember hanging out with Lara, I remember having drinks and snacks and dinner after Vogue Knitting Live, hanging out with all my podcaster friends, and just going, you know, hanging out at Vogue Knitting Live up in the there's a overlook or a mezzanine level where we just kind of hung out for several hours knitting and chatting. The coffee place that we met up at before Vogue Knitting Live. I'm jumping in time here, guys, but yeah, it's so awesome. So yay, lots of memories. I mean, isn't that the great thing about knitting though? Just by looking at one particular project will just spur a memory of where you were, what you were doing, who you were with while you were actually knitting on that project, which I think is just amazing. Another perk about knitting, I mean, oh, it's just so wonderful. Anyway, I could wax poetic about this sock for ages, but I won't do that to you guys. But yeah, definitely one of my favorite projects of the new year, and this will actually be my first pair of socks that I will have completed for my box of socks this year, so yay. And I did cast on the second sock. I've gotten pretty far in it. So here's where I am. And these are going to surprisingly match. That was, you know, I didn't really intend for them to match, but that's just how it worked out. And I'm using Hiya Sharps in a US 1.5 or 2.5 millimeter needle. So I love these, love these, love these, love. I love these needles so much. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is while we were hanging out, Mina from the Knitting Expat podcast, if you're not familiar, she is like a super sock knitter. She can knit, she literally knit a whole pair of socks that day. She can knit 2 at a time socks at an insane speed. So by the end of the night when we were finally having dinner, she completed her socks. She goes, I'm done. And we're just all our jaws dropped and we're like, how did you do that? So, and I know in the past I've talked about 2 at a time socks is not for me. Totally done with it, over it, whatever, what have you. She's just so inspiring when it comes to that, and it's like I want to give it another shot. I want to get good at it. So I'm going to give knitting 2 at a time socks another shot. So yeah, I will get this. I will get it. I have faith in myself that I will learn how to enjoy knitting 2 at a time socks, because yeah, second sock syndrome is very real. The struggle is real, my friends. So anyway, I will not give up. But yeah, that's where I am with these. And what else? Yeah, my Trekkia hat by Michelle Wong that I have been knitting. I was hoping to have it done by Vogue Knitting Live, but it wasn't in the cards. Though I did work on it. I put quite a dent in it, and I believe I'm 1 row away from the decreases. Yes, it will be done. But yeah, this is just cables galore, and here's where I am on it. I'm not sure if I made any progress since I showed it to you last, but I think I did. So yeah, the yarn is Road to China. Oh, I'm sorry, the Fiber Company, Road to China in the Hematite colorway. And it's just super soft, super fluffy. It's like a pet. It's a pet, really. It's like having a pet, basically, because it's so soft and fluffy and squishy, and I think Bella's getting jealous over there. But anyway, yeah, I will be very happy to have this done because it is getting cold. It is getting quite cold. Although this weekend the weather was just off the charts, crazy. First, I think it went up to 60 and then it dropped down to 40 and then it snowed. It was crazy. So anyway, this will be done by the time the weather gets unbearably cold. So that's where I am with that. The other thing that I've been working on, and sadly I have not made much progress on it, only because I hit a little bit of a wall, is my honey pullover, which is part of my, the knit along that I'm co-hosting with Nina from the This Old Knit podcast. And I decreased, I didn't show this to you guys last week, but here's where I am with it, and it's still on some smaller needles, and I'm at the point where I should be separating the sleeves. But I don't know what happened, but my stitch count is ever so slightly off, maybe just a little too much, but I think I'm short 5 stitches on one sleeve and then maybe 3 stitches short on the other sleeve. I don't know what happened, but I'm gonna work it out because stockinette, you think, okay, just round and round stockinette, it's tricky like that. It makes you, think, oh, I've got this, I can just knit in the round, increase where I need to, and then it'll be fine. No, you have to still pay attention every now and again. Apparently I do. But yeah, I was chatting with Nina, and she said that she tried it on. She actually blocked what she had knit so far just to be extra sure, and she realized that the raglan increases weren't long enough, so she added a little bit more length to hers, which is what I think I'm going to do, because just by looking at this, I know I'm definitely not gonna have enough room under my armpits. So I'm gonna follow suit and knit a couple more rounds on here, maybe like another inch or so, and then just even out my stitches as I go along. So that's where I am with this, and this is my hand-dyed yarn. In the main color right here is my Tega colorway, and then the contrasting yarn here is my Dirty on Purpose colorway. So yay! And of course I'm using Hiya Hiya Sharps on my interchangeables, and these are US size 4, 3.5 millimeter. So having a lot of fun with that, but yeah, I definitely want to put another dent in that. And last but not least, I have my Find Your Fade shawl that I've been working on, and here's where I am. I didn't make very much progress on it, again, because I was mainly knitting on my my socks this past weekend, but last night I put a little bit of a dent in it. I am to the eyelet part on the third colorway, and as I mentioned last week, this is Skinny Dipping yarn in her Space Bands colorway. And then here we have Hedgehog Fibers in Hush, and then I melt into Hedgehog Fibers again in Birthday Cake. So I'm interested to see what colorway I pick next to go along with this. But yeah, so far it's just been an easy breezy knit, very relaxing, and yeah, so that's where I am with that, guys. Nothing really to write home about. Okay, moving along, I have some stash enhancement to share with you, because yeah, this past weekend was Vogue Knitting Live, and it is my birthday month, and I gave myself full permission to embrace the wool pig, and went a little bit crazy, just because the only time I ever really go yarn crazy is for Rhinebeck and Vogue Knitting Live, and when it's my birthday month, I just go all out. I just, you know, give myself a budget and say have fun. So yeah, I think I had a very successful trip at Vogue Knitting Live this week. I had to visit the Do You Knit and Stephen B booth, because I love Karen Posniak. She's awesome, and you know, I was excited to see her again since my last trunk show there, and you know, of course I love Hedgehog Fibers, so I you know, had to get some. And this one, I had originally gone there to pick up some Monarch, which is a colorway I really want to get, but they were fresh out, at least in sock yarn and skinny singles. So this other skein of yarn totally caught my eye. It was just sitting there all alone. So yeah, this little lonely guy had to come home with me. It is a potluck colorway, which means it's non-repeatable, it's a one-of-a-kind, and this is on her Merino DK, and it's 115 grams, 200 meters, 100% springy twist merino wool, and it is absolutely beautiful. I have no idea what it's gonna be, but I love it. Maybe a pair of mittens, I don't know. But that had to come home with me, and then I wasn't expecting myself to come away with this colorway, but I figured, you know, I might want some blue. I might want some blue in my Find Your Fade. If not, I can always mix and match with whatever else is in my stash. So I got some Budgie, again, Hedgehog Fibers and skinny singles. And yeah, so that was my haul from that booth. And then I also made a beeline to Narwhal Needlework, because I really love Emily's colorways. She's just, I don't know, a genius when it comes to hand dyeing yarn. And her husband, I was first introduced to Narwhal Needlework last year at last year's Vogue Knitting Live, and immediately fell in love with their colorways and met them, and they were just so genuinely down to earth and nice and sweet, and you know, I really just love saying hello to them whenever I get the chance to at festivals, which has just been Vogue Knitting Live. But anyway, Emily, it was so nice seeing you and your husband again. I think it's your husband. I'm so sorry if I'm totally wrong, but anyway, you guys are so lovely, and your yarn is just to die for. So but yeah, I had to come away. I bought one skein, which is a gift, so I don't have it to share with you, but it's a beautiful colorway. But I did buy these for myself, which yeah, it's mauve, and here's their card. And it's a narwhal. I love it. And this is their Lyra base, and it's a fingering weight yarn, 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. And the colorway is called Plum Tired, which is absolutely fitting because by the end of the day, I was literally plum tired. So yeah, very fitting. It just had to come home with me. And then this one was very out of my comfort zone, but this part right here of like this little patch of speckles, I just fell in love with that. And the colorway on top of it, this totally won me over. The color is called Squid Ink. Yeah, and if you know me, I love octopus, I love squid, creatures of the sea. It was just wonderful. It was a done deal. And this is her Rogue base, which is again fingering weight, 75% superwash merino and 20% nylon. So love it, love it, love it. I don't know, I could see it being a pair of socks, but why? But why? I don't know, I think I might mix it in with another colorway and, you know, just to kind of maybe tone down the lime a little bit if it were to be a shawl. I don't know, TBD, but they wanted to come home with me. And then that's not all. I wanted to, Into the World, I love Into the World, but it wasn't exactly on my list of booths to hit up because, again, I was like, I hit up the main booths that I wanted to hit up, but then I went in, once the marketplace died down a little bit and, you know, we could actually walk around and take your time and look at things, Laura and I had gone into their booth, and she had purchased something, and then there was this one colorway that I've been trying to get a hold of, and they never have it on the right base, or I believe I had wanted the fiber of it originally, and I do have the fiber in this colorway, but it's not a fiber I'm prepared to actually use yet. But you know, on a whim, I just asked to see if they had it in stock, and sure enough, they did. But here it is. And yeah, you can see why I purchased this, and are you ready for the name, my friends? It is called Vampires of Venice. And they have this, several different versions of this colorway, but this is the resist dyed in their Pakoku sock, which is a 4-ply 75-25 superwash merino nylon. And I absolutely love this. Yeah. So anyway, love it, love it. And then, but wait, that's not all. Marcia, who is one of my good friends, she is the maker behind One Geek to Craft Them All. She has a really awesome Etsy shop. If you, as her business name suggests, One Geek to Craft Them All, if you love Hamilton, if you love Harry Potter, if you love Game of Thrones, if you love any of those fandom things, she's your girl for stitch markers and earrings and just, you know, all that fun jewelry. And she also made some zodiac stitch markers, and because it was my birthday month, or it is my birthday month, she had Aquarius, which is my astrological sign, and I picked up this really fun set of stitch markers with an Aquarius charm on it, and it's in purple. I think this was like one of the last ones she had left, and it was just right up my alley. So I bought that, and yeah, Marcia, thank you for making such awesome stitch markers. But yay! So that was my haul. But I would be remiss not to mention that I did take Laura for the first time to Woolen, which is a Brooklyn, a local yarn shop in Brooklyn that I love. And I have it in their bag right here. So Laura came away with a little haul from there. So check out her podcast to see what she got. Sadly, I was behaving because I had already purchased a skein the previous week when I met up with Katie from Inside Number 23. I bought a skein of Invictus yarns. But I did, because I didn't have any lotion on me at the time, I did purchase a Lolo bar in their Summer Breeze scent. So it smells delightful. So yeah, that was basically my haul from Vogue Knitting Live in Woolen this past weekend. And yeah, so I'm actually going to take this hat off only because I'm starting to get really hot in it, except I have really awesome hat hair now. But anyway. So yeah, I'm gonna move along to Ask Away, because we do have some questions from the Ask Away thread, which is a thread in the Ravelry group, where you can ask me pretty much anything you'd like regarding the episode, regarding knitting, sewing, hand dyeing, what have you, about me personally, within reason. But we have a question from Meg, aka Mrs. M. And she says, "Hi Kristen, Happy New Year. I know you are a fan of double gauze cotton. I was wondering, does this type of cotton have any drape, more of a drape than other dressmaking cottons? I'm looking for an organic cotton that works well for bias cut pattern pieces. A chambray works quite well, but as weft and warp use different something, there is quite a contrast between panels. I was wondering whether double gauze might be a drapey substitute. Unfortunately, local shops don't sell it, so if I would have to buy blindly on the internet, hence me picking your brain about your experience of using this fabric. Thanks." Okay, so I don't have a sewing segment for you guys this week, only because I haven't had the time to sew anything. But I am wearing something that I've sewed, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But yes, if you follow the podcast, I really enjoy working with double gauze. It's lighter, if that makes any sense. It definitely has a very soft, light hand to it, and it's not as stiff as cotton. I wouldn't call it drapey, but I feel like quilting cotton is more drapey, chambray is more drapey, it's heavier, if that makes any sense, whereas double gauze has like a very light, lofty hand to it. But I highly recommend it. I prefer it to quilting cotton. It doesn't wrinkle as easily. It washes well, and just it's very next to skin, if that makes any sense. So highly recommend it. Feel free to blind buy online away. Definitely check it out, because if anything, just try you know, maybe like a lesser expensive brand as a muslin maybe, but yes, I definitely recommend it. That's the best I can describe it. So I hope that helps. And yeah, because I don't have a sewing segment, I will talk about what I'm wearing. This is my Agnes top, a pattern by Tilly and the Buttons, which is very popular. And yeah, it's just made out of gray heather jersey, and I made the version without, there's a version that has puffed sleeves where you can add a ruche down either side, but for some reason that's really not my style, so I just did it down the front. And yeah, it's just a very casual, just chuck it on casual t-shirt that I really enjoy wearing, and it's a very easy pattern. Highly recommend it. As far as for beginners, I think it might be beginner friendly. I would say it's a very good, if you're new to sewing with jersey, it's a very good beginner friendly pattern. She breaks down everything, there are diagrams, and explains everything with tips and tricks, so definitely check it out. But yeah, here's what it looks like. Yay! Set in sleeves and everything, so anyway, yay! And I'm wearing a black tutu today. I did not make that. But anyway, yeah, so that said, I'm gonna move along to shop update, because I'm having a shop update tomorrow which is January 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you can make it. And it's a very Valentine's Day inspired update, because yeah, next month is February and Valentine's Day is coming upon us, so I figured it's time to break out all the pinks, the reds, the, you know, all those lovey-dovey colors that you can think of. So, yes, let me get my bin. I do have some other colorways that I will have in the shop, especially I Am No Bird. That will be in the shop as well. So here we go. This is it on Footsie. I will have it on several other bases as well. But yes, this is the colorway I came up for last year's Valentine's Day, or Valentine's Day themed inspired colorways. This is Love Song. So there's that. And this is it on my blitzed base. Here it is on my Wilderness base, one of my new bases with mohair, has kid mohair in it, so extra fluffy and sturdy. And let me see, I also have, again, I know I mentioned, because I knit the Pussy Hat project hat, I mentioned that I'm not a very hot pink I'm not very into wearing hot pink, but this was a very popular colorway last year for Valentine's Day, so I brought it back. I dye it occasionally, but Prickly Pear, which is very hot pink. I actually really love it because it has just like, while it's hot pink, it has like these red undertones to it, so it's not like, I don't know, this is my hot pink. If I were to wear a hot pink, this would be it. So here it is on Wilderness, and then I also have it on Cocoon for anybody who just wants to knit a pink pussy hat. So there's that. And then I will have it on a couple of other bases as well. And then I will have Jilted Rose. Here it is on Wilderness. And then here it is on Cocoon. My cat's howling in the background. I don't know if you can hear her. She literally, I don't know if you can hear my cat. She's howling. I think she wants me to come down and play with her. It's ridiculous. It's a new thing that she does now. Aging cats, man, I tell you. And then upon popular demand, we have Mexican hot chocolate. So we have Mexican hot chocolate on Wilderness. And then of course, I also have it on Cocoon. Today's going to be a very Valentine's Day inspired free swim dye session, so expect a lot of one-of-a-kinds in tomorrow's shop update, because I'm going to have a little fun later on in the afternoon in the dye pot. But these happen to be some free swim skeins that I dyed up this week. I was just trying to experiment with certain colorways and the way they play together, and yeah, so these will be, I haven't named them yet, but they will be in the shop tomorrow. Very speckly, very neon, and like a delicate mint green base. So yay, there's that. And then this was a whoopsie daisies in the dye pot because I put the wrong, I added the dye in the wrong sequence, and I just had to just come up with something totally different. But yeah, this is, I'm not sure how well it's reading on camera, but it's a very deep mauve color with like brown and pink undertones to it. So yeah, it's a semi-solid of sorts. So yeah, there will be 2 of those. And yeah, so stay tuned. Do keep an eye on the blog on my website, VoolenvineYarns.com, where I keep a running list of all the colorways that will be in the shop on Friday. So hope you can make it. Again, the updates tomorrow, Friday, January 20th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, yay! So that's it. Okay, I've been talking a lot and my voice is definitely going. So I will talk briefly about Vogue Knitting Live and Laura's stay here. So, and again, I will post footage of our adventures at the end of the episode. I don't have very much footage, but I will do my best to kind of create a little movie for you guys if you feel so inclined to stick around. But yeah, so Vogue Knitting Live, Laura came on Friday evening. We took her out to dinner. Dennis and I took her out to dinner. We tried out this new place called Bunker, which if you're Laura's vegan, so every time she comes in town we try to find like all the really like the new vegan spots that just opened up, because Dennis and I really do love vegan food. Although I am a self-professed carnivore, I do love myself a good slab of steak occasionally. So but I do really appreciate and enjoy vegan food as well. So we tried out this new place called Bunker. They have both vegan and meat dishes there as well. So we went there. The food was amazing. I will definitely be going back there. And then we came back and just, you know, relaxed, and then got up the next morning. Laura wanted to check out this bakery called oh gosh, Laura McKenna. Oh god, why can I, Melissa, anyway, I'm totally blanking. I remembered it all weekend and then now I can't remember it, but it's formerly known as Baby Cakes, and it's a completely vegan bakery. So we made a pit stop there before meeting up with the rest of our knitting posse at the Bean, which was in Union Square. We met up at this coffee shop with Jacqueline from the Brooklyn Knit Folk podcast, Mina from the Knitting Expat podcast, Julie from Sweet Sparrow Knits, or Yarns I should say. Then Katie met up with us there with her husband Emrys, and who else? Oh goodness, I'm forgetting. Well yeah, Laura and I were there. I think that was it. I know I'm forgetting somebody. But anyway, so we all met up there, had some coffee, pre-fueled, pre-caffeinated, and then made our way over to Vogue Knitting Live. And yeah, I mean, as soon as we got our badges, our wristbands, and you know, got to the hotel, we were immediately greeted by so many people who watch our podcasts. And again, it was just so wonderful getting to meet you guys in person. And yeah, I'm trying to think what else we did. Yeah, we kind of stuck together, which I don't know if that was the wisest choice, but you know, we all just wanted to travel throughout the marketplace together to make sure that we didn't miss anything, and you know, just have fun, you know, basically. And we just quickly realized that maybe that wasn't the best idea, because we did end up kind of blocking certain aisles. And anyway, but we did have a lot of fun just roaming together. Eventually we did split up, but I want to say like maybe 2 hours, we did make our way up to the mezzanine, where you can just look over the entire marketplace and get a good view, and maybe just catch a breath of fresh air, or just cool down, because it was very hot, like walking around in the marketplace, and then the mezzanine just had the best air conditioning up there. So we all ended up just at this really big table, chatting and knitting for several hours. I lost track of how long we stayed up there, but some of us came, some of us went, you know, back to dip back down into the marketplace. But yeah, we were just, a couple of other people met up with us. I know Gabby from the Once Upon a Corgi podcast met up with us, her brother Adrian from Freakish Lemon, Denise from the Yoshi and Lucy Knits podcast and Yoshi and Lucy Yarns, Tanya from Knitting Spring podcast, Sharon from Knit Style podcast and Yarns met up with us, and I'm trying, who am I missing? I know there's somebody I'm missing, and I am so sorry if I'm missing your name, but there were so many of you guys. It was wonderful. So yeah, we just hung out there, chat, and then finally Eric from Sticks Plus Twine texted us saying that, you know, he got back to his hotel, and, you know, if we all just wanted to meet up with him at, you know, the restaurant in his hotel, we could, you know, just make our way over there. So yeah, we migrated to the hotel that he was staying at, and we just got all together. We got a table and ordered some food, some drinks, and just had the best time, honestly. Shamika, who is a knitter super fan, if you're not familiar with Shamika, she has a podcast out now. I'm totally blanking on the name of it. It's fairly new. I think she has like 2 or 3 episodes out, but you guys check out her podcast. Shamika is just, there are no words to describe how awesome Shamika is. Anyway, she met up with us there. Allison from Pearl Soho met up with us there, and it was just a wonderful night. So unfortunately, it came to a time where we had to part ways, and I definitely gave Emerus and KT a really big hug, because I miss them like crazy right now. We had the best time. So I'm really hoping I can make the Edinburgh Sheep and Wool Fest happen this year, because it looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun. Anyway, I'm thinking out loud, but yeah, it was just so many awesome memories. And even though like Vogue Knitting Live itself, if you're going stag, it's good for like I remember the first year I went totally stag to Vogue Knitting Live, and I did meet a couple of people here and there that I knew from online and everything, but it's only, I would say it's only worth going if you're going with a group of friends, or if you know there's an indie diary you want, you go in, you get out, or you're taking a class. But otherwise, you know, I personally just go to hang out with friends and just have a good time and embrace a little of the wool pig. So, but yeah, that was Vogue Knitting Live 2017 this year, and I look forward to going next year. And yes, so anyway, I'm trying to think what else has been going on in my life worth noting. Yeah, Dennis and I are actually going to Palm Springs next month. We are visiting family, and which will be nice, because it'll be a nice break from the cold weather that is going to be coming our way soon. So yeah, very much looking forward to that. And yeah, so if anybody knows any yarn shops in Palm Springs, I'm sure I could Google it or whatever, but if there are any that you know of, please feel free to let me know, because I think I will definitely be looking for some yarn shops to hit up. Just because, why not? You know, I love visiting, who doesn't love visiting new yarn shops and different places you visit. So anyway, let me know if you know of any. But in the meantime, I have been binge watching Versailles, really enjoying it. It's definitely a guilty pleasure watch, especially just for the costumes. And then, yeah, otherwise, that's about it. There really hasn't been anything going on. I've just been kind of winding down from the weekend's festivities. And yeah, especially me in particular, like whenever there is a big event, I definitely have to take some time for myself to wind down, recharge, I definitely felt like, as great a time as I had at Vogue Knitting Live, I definitely, by the end of it all, I just felt like very run down, very winded, and again, vocal fry, which is a new term that I learned from Jacqueline of the Brooklyn Knit Book podcast. She mentioned that she had some serious vocal fry at when we were having dinner. I was like, vocal what? And she goes, vocal fry. It's when you talk and talk and talk and you can't talk anymore. And yeah, I definitely was experiencing that. So, and I'm still experiencing that now. But anyway, I definitely took Monday. I didn't take it off. I did do some dyeing and some packaging, but I definitely took it easy. I didn't do as much dyeing as I normally would have. But yeah, again, introvert. I need to recharge and just calm down. But anyway, I think that is it for this week. So that said, happy knitting, and I will see you next time. Bye.